Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday morning. Thank you for being here. How is everyone doing? Good morning, Patrick. Good morning, Sterling. Yeah, I did see that Redfin reports typical household earns roughly 30,000 less than needed to afford the median priced home. I think home price is actually insane right now. You had the bridge collapse in Baltimore. So, what else do we have? We have durable goods. We'll go over that in a second. I'm just looking through here, see if there's anything else important besides saying good morning to Mark. Good morning, John. Good morning, Heinrich. Good morning, Jacob. Good morning, Anissa. Good morning, Royal Palms. Everybody filtering in. Why was the market pumping early this morning? Well, don't you know the correction's already over? We were getting a pretty decent sell volatility again. Sell volatility down. You know, when there's no bad news, the market's just going to gravitate higher. We had durable goods coming out this morning, which was a beat. The last numbers revised lower. Shocking how that keeps happening, but durable goods a pretty decent beat month over month. What else do we have? We just had. Did Redbook? It should have come out, but I don't see the. Oh, there we go. 3.9. So Redbook's still hanging in there. Redbook's still. Hey, we had the uh, S&P Case-Shiller Home Price Index. So coming out 6.6, right between forecast and consensus. A month over month, a slight drop, but that's for January. Again, remember weaker home sales in January. What else we have today? Consumer confidence coming out at 9 Central. Richmond Fed Manufacturing Index and the Services Index. The Dallas Fed Services Index, remember yesterday. Is this on recent? Why isn't I wanted to look up. Here we go. Why did that? Okay, I want to look back at the Dallas manufacturing was not good yesterday. If you looked at that report, let's see how the Dallas Fed Services Index is. If it's still going to be in as deep a contraction as forecast. But besides your regional indices, there's not much coming out today. No news. Tesla getting pumped. I mean, there was a lot of volume going off very early pre-market this morning. Very early, right in the open. And that is always suspicious to me. Because who's rushing in right now? Again, it's not due to them looking at truck sales in Italy. I just think that's going to get the quarter end pump before, because if they miss deliveries, it's going to get interesting. So we might have the little quarter end pump rise. We'll take a look at the stock. Apple missed iPhone shipments there. Oh, it didn't miss. It was weaker in China, down substantially, but every other mega cap up. Nvidia still chugging higher. We got groups. Everything is positive today. Everything positive, led by consumer cyclical technology and comm services. Fed watch tool still has the 3 cuts priced in and the pause in May. Fear and greed. Back to the middle of greed. This will pop up after the open this morning. By the way, for just the update, Good Friday. No, the stock market's closed, and yesterday I said the futures, I thought it was for some reason limited trading, but it is not. It is completely closed, just like as on Christmas. So I don't know what I was thinking of, but thanks to Sterling, and then I looked it up, and Good Friday completely closed. Now everything on Thursday closes pretty much at the normal time. So no early closes on Thursday, and then Friday I think we'll still have a live stream just to look at the PCE numbers on Friday. A really quick one. I don't know next Monday if there'll be a live stream or not, or if it'll be changed time. I have to take my wife to the airport. She's flying out to Arizona. So we will see if that impacts. I'll let you know over the next couple days. Today in earnings, again, there's nothing. I didn't even look at McCormick Spice. After the close, GameStop. But there's just really nothing to talk about in terms of earnings this week. So, good morning, Charles. Good morning, Martinez. Good morning, Daniel. Good morning, Legion Reaver. So far, here's what I'm looking at. here's what I'm looking at. We had the little channeling uh, come out. We had a little, you can see here, a little double bottom. So if you're going with the conservative already, it just missed that. I'm looking actually at this because it's with the trend. So we'll be watching these levels going the open. But the purple lines here, that's on the little pullback from the top. And this line is off. Let me fix that. There we go. So from the top on last Thursday to the lows yesterday, between 52.98 roughly and 53.04 is the reversal zone that it bounced into. What I'm looking at, and it actually stopped dead on a very key level for me right here. You see this 53, it happened to be 5,300. So up again, I'm watching 52.97 to 5,300. If we get out above 5,300, I'm going to 53.04 to 53.05. But 53.04 is very key at a minimum on a 1 hour closing basis, more so on a 4 hour closing basis. Why? Because if we close above that, I'll be watching then for 53.10 and then 53.16 using the retracement harmonics. So that's exactly what I'm looking at. Now coming into, we've got some selling coming down right now. The key area I'm watching coming into the open for major support is 52.85, 52.86. We drop below that. It's about 52.80 that gets interesting. You break below 52.80. Then I'm going back to watching 52.65 and then 52.45. But this is coming into key support on the open. See here, pretty big reversal bar. Pretty big reversal bar, and now we're trying to just stabilize against a little key support area. Yeah, the chaos continues in Baltimore with the collapse of the bridge. I thought about you, Richard, because I was wondering if that's going to impact you at all. So, yeah, that was, if you saw the video from that collapse, I mean, that just slamming into it, and then the whole thing just gave way. That was very, very shocking and sudden. Rescue efforts still continue there, at last I read. So the NASDAQ, let me just zoom out real quick. Zoom out. I have the little retracement. The purple lines are the retracement. They're coming back to the rotation zone and bouncing back up. But again, spiking just above the 62.5 this morning. Getting the 1 hour close above the 62.5 and the 4 hour close above the 62.5. So on this pullback, definitely with tech seems to be wanting to run higher again. Watching for 18,634 and then 18,671. Remember, on the short-term basis, if we start getting up above that 75% harmonic, we could be setting up a little mini double top, going into the end of the week data. So remember, we have GDP on Thursday. Even though the markets are closed, it'll be PCE on Friday. Right now, right around 18,520, 18,550 is the key support. 18,550, and then the breakdown area. Let me just revise this so I can grab this line. The breakdown area is going to be a little higher, about 18,530. So those are the key levels I'm looking at with the NASDAQ. All right, the Dow. Again, it looks like one of those rotations. We had a couple of bigger pullback in the Dow. Looks like one of those rotations back into the NASDAQ and the S&P versus the Dow. The Dow holding a very critical level, the daily rotation zone and the 50% retracement from the last little run up. If we do break below 39,675, 39,525 is key. If we close below that, then I'll start watching for a continued pullback, but my first target would be this 39,365 area. To the upside, key resistance to about 39,840, and then 40,000. Russell rotating back up. The key area I'm looking at in the Russell, we're between the 50 and 62.5. We spiked in there, but if we close above 2116.1, then targets 2121 and 2127 roughly. The key support I'm watching is 2088. The VIX, we had a quick reversal yesterday, only slightly elevated, but if we start dropping back below 13 after the open, we're trading 13.15, I'll really start watching for a little continued rotation back up. The DAX continues to chug along. The DAX, there's no stop in the DAX. Not right now. So the next target, 18,795. 18,795 area. Just going to take this line off for now. We roughly know where that is. Notes, not much to talk about. We've really gone a whole lot of nowhere since last Wednesday. You see the close last Wednesday and where it's trading right now is a whole lot of nowhere. So we might not get the big moves until starting Thursday, Friday this week. Same thing with the yield. The yield's trying to press up. But again, this will probably be minorly, like, I don't know what word I'm looking for. A sedated move until Thursday. Dollar index, little pullback here. Trading against right now. Couple day pullback with cycle tops. Trading against some key support. If it continues to pull back, about 103.55 is key. What would stop this if we start closing back below all the moving averages here, then I'd start watching for a bigger rollover play. But nothing with that yet. I am keeping an eye on crude. We have a minor potential topping pattern. It would need now, with this rotation up, remember it got back above the 75 yesterday, so it is in potential double top territory. Still looking for the higher prices unless now we close below 80.30. If we close below 80.30, we could run back to some key moving averages. That does not break this upward sloping channel, though. It would just be a short-term pullback. Now, we still have daily cycles moving up. So if this were to trigger, it would be, okay, then I'd really be watching for the pullback. But beyond that, watching for that retest of 83. And the next key area is 84.79. If we look off this last little run-up and see where the other harmonics give us, we're looking at the cluster. So a stop raise could be 83.91 area, and then we have the major cluster right up there. So the only negative is if crude closes below 80.30 on a daily basis. You could go to a 4-hour basis. Preferably, I'd be looking for it to follow through with a daily close. By the way, natty gas, gap up today, but this is, remember, we've talked about this with the little mini double, reaching the targets, watch for the bigger pullback, which we got below the 75. Little gap up, but the only real thing with natty gas, if it were to close above it's roughly $2. $2. That's going to be the key. That's going to be the key major play in natty gas, potentially from a longer term double bottom with a more substantial bottom pattern against some very key support. And I'd want to see that really follow through with a weekly close. Gold popping up. Gold popping back up, still holding the rotation zone. The only negative for gold is if it closes back below about 21.45 now. If we close below that, I'd watch for a pullback between the 50 and the 62.5, but right now, still trending higher. Still trending higher. Got too many lines on here. So that's where that sits. If you're looking for minor targets, with this, again, is stopping dead on the 62.5 before the pullback, but you get the close back above 2200, 2208, 2209, 2217 are the key targets. Silver, by the way, if you're looking for anything in silver, there is a potential mini double bottom. Would need a close on a 4-hour time frame from my perspective above 2511. If this continues to the right without a close above that, it will change probably into a horizontal channel if it pulls back anymore. But that's just for a little mini pop move into the clear path. That's not a major bottoming pattern. That's a minor bottoming pattern. You can see it here on the daily in the rotation zone. Copper, we had a little mini double already play out. So that's why don't mistake the mini double patterns for major patterns. Now, if you're trying to find something to get a re-entry, you could try to turn something potentially into something longer term, but pay attention to those targets. By the way, if copper starts closing back below 397, we could start getting a even bigger pullback, but so far it's just a channel pullback from the breakout move. And that bigger pullback would be into very major support right around 393. Good morning, Chris Plummer. Chris lives right near that bridge. You take it all the time. Well, you won't be taking it anytime in the future, in the near future. Glad you weren't. I mean, it's going to affect traffic, though. That's going to be a nightmare. The yen still pausing up here. By the way, this double, this is no longer a double. You see, it's in this consolidation pattern. So we should be getting probably a sharper and sudden move in the yen coming up at some point, and it's against very key resistance. However, if it does break above 152, watch out. The euro, little bounce back here in the euro. Just not a great pattern in the euro right now. Some of these currencies aren't trading in great patterns. Now the spiders, key level. Right now, we closed yesterday 519.77. So on the rollover play, 519.77 would be to the gap fill. There is still technically a gap left behind to the upside to 521.21. We're trading 520.81. So first target on the upside would be 521.21. And then you see Thursday's close, Friday's open area, and the 12.5% harmonic right around 522.15 would be my next target. I'd also, if we bounce back, pay attention to 522.42 on a closing basis. You start closing above there, 522.99, 523.55 to set up the potential double top going into later in the week. Other than that, if it did break down, fill the gap from yesterday and roll over major support 518.25 area. The Qs, the same difference. Same difference with the Qs. Major support coming in about 442.50. Right now we're gapping up 446. Any rollover play would be to yesterday's close 444.76. The key area I'm watching is 446.79 on a closing basis. Remember, anywhere between 445.94 and 446.79 is the rollover zone. You start closing above 446.79, 447.64, 448.49. Exactly how those are getting laid out. Bitcoin invalidated the head and shoulders. However, just because that was invalidated, now we have a stronger topping pattern with the push above the 75. So the only thing that gets Bitcoin negative in the short term is a close below, what's the low here? 60,071. 60,771. Otherwise, Bitcoin still running back to the prior top area from middle of March. Hey, Christoph. Well, thanks still for joining. Better late than never. Tesla, it's now turning into a channeling pattern up against the daily rotation zone. But if it breaks above there, going into quarter end pump, 183, then 188 are the targets. That does nothing to invalidate still the rollover pattern. NVIDIA, again, in even stronger potential double top territory, but the trend is still up. So unless you get the close below 841.66, the trend is still up. We'll have to see if it can break above this 974. What else? Apple. Keep an eye on this with weaker iPhone. It's trading as very key support, but if that starts breaking, still 168 is a target from the longer term double top, and then I'd be looking at this 166 area is very major. But Apple, it's just not coming out with good news right now. So I'd be very careful with that and trying to pick a bottom. What else? What else do we have? Just thinking, looking at some of the other mega caps, nothing much going on with Meta. A lot of stuff is stalling out. Netflix still grinding higher. I didn't talk about this the other day, but we did hit the 87.5 to complete the 87.5 rule and the cluster there. Okay, so I'm actually starting to watch. This is waning momentum on Netflix, so I'm starting to keep a very close eye on Netflix also. GME closed above the 75% retracement to the daily double bottom trigger yesterday, going into earnings after hours. GME. Closing right at the closing above the 62.5. So wondering if this will pop to 1553 today. That'd be interesting to set up the 87.5 to complete the 87.5 rule. But this looks very pumpish into earnings. Chasing the earnings, and then is it sell the earnings or sell right before the earnings? We shall see. We shall see. All right, remember, the data is backloaded this week. Friday being a major day, but the markets are closed. So the S&P right back to the key support level. So going into the open, I'm really watching to see if this holds. This is 52.85, 52.86. That's what I'm keeping an eye on. Other than that, you don't have a strong bottoming pattern just yet. We could be setting up for a mini pattern if it rolls over and retests this levels and it holds into the open, but that's about it. Again, don't do anything silly this week. It's a little thinner markets. You have GDP on Thursday. That was the fourth quarter GDP final revision. You got the PCE numbers from fourth quarter, and you got the PCE numbers on Good Friday. So just don't do anything silly with your trades. And with that, I shall talk to everyone later. Have a wonderful trading day. Bye for now.